Welcome everybody to another episode of RODANE Kaiju Season, the Kaijuning Kaijun, as one very wise man once said. And as you can hear, I'm joined by my beautiful co-host. They say that stranger things have come out of the sea, but I do not believe it.
And I, as you've heard, am also joined by my own beautiful co-host, who also was made by dumping 200 bottles of formaldehyde into the ocean.
Don't talk about my mom that way. Okay. So we're talking today about a is it really a kaiju movie?
It has a giant monster. It counts.
Okay, so we're talking about a South Korean kaiju movie. The host by acclaimed director Bong Joon Ho. This is our second Bong Joon Ho movie on the podcast. Coming off the dizzying lows of our last entry, which was Nodzilla, I am so excited to talk about this and how much I enjoyed it and how much I enjoyed all the behind the scenes stuff. Daniel, what's your general impression on this movie?
I dig this movie. It's really good. Like, what did you expect? It's a Bong Joon Ho movie. He hasn't let me down
My boy
yet.
has not let me down.
Indeed.
It's so weird to watch his old movies. Well, old, fucking 2006. It's not that old, but as in watch some of his earlier efforts and see kernels for things that will be expanded upon in future movies.
Like this is his third film.
And you can see the seeds planted for what will eventually become Parasite.
You can see the seeds for a lot of things, like Snowpiercer as well.
Explain.
Well, it's just the general vibe of him talking about class in his movies. Like, it's a big theme, mostly spoken through Parasite and Snowpiercer. Like, those are the two most obvious ones, but it's sort of a background element to a lot of his movies, including Mother, which we've talked about. And I would say if we take it on like most prevalent, I would say we could go like Snowpiercer would be the biggest one. Yeah, Snowpiercer is probably the most obvious one, and then you have Parasite, and then you have this.
I would say Parasite is a lot more of an obvious comparison to this because there's a literal.
It doesn't have a train that's divided into classes. That's like where I got it. But they're pretty close.
Yeah, but I would say Parasite is a lot more close to this because it has a South Korean family who is of a lower class and
shares an actor,
and it sort of portrays their struggle to solve their issue. I don't know. I felt like it was a lot closer to Parasite.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm just saying that the sort of pervasive element of class struggle and depicting, well, class struggle is a big part of a lot of Bong Joon Ho's film, and you can see it in this as well, being one of his earlier films.
Oh, Daniel, is this the first time you've seen this movie?
No, I've seen it before. I saw it like, 8 years ago or something. I think I saw it at the same time, around the same time that I saw like Snowpiercer, what was Snowpiercer, 2011, 2012? 14. Okay, so it's not that long ago. But yeah, after, I think Snowpiercer was the first one I saw of his, and then I went back and saw some of his other films, including The Host.
I've seen this way before I was aware of Parasite. In the sense that it was one of those things that kept getting advertised on IMDb.
Yeah.
So I think I frequented IMDb quite a lot when I was in high school. Just kind of looking at random posters and being like, yeah, this looks good. Because I didn't have a frame of reference for anything.
Right.
And I watched this and I was like, this is really fucked up.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't watch this as a young adolescent boy. But I did. And now I'm here.
And we're all questioning it.
We're all worse for it. But I didn't really get it when I was a kid in the sense that, oh, it's a giant monster, scary. But I quite enjoyed going back to it and kind of seeing, oh, familiar visuals, but sort of getting a an adult appreciation of what was going on.
Mm.
Well, what's going on, folks, is this is basically just Silence of the Lambs with a fish monster.
Yeah.
Fucking, there's like 100 Buffalo Bill shots in this of the kidnapped people staring up at the grate, and there's the head of the monster looking at them, stalking them,
vomiting up tons of bones.
Oh god. All right, so Daniel, what's the premise of the movie?
So the premise of the movie is Americans fucked things up, created a monster, and oh boy, that's the quick version. Okay, so the movie opens in the year 2000, with an American military pathologist who orders his Korean assistant to dump 200 bottles of formaldehyde into the drain, which goes into the Han River, which is a river in South Korea. And then several years, there begins to grow strange things in the ocean, including this giant monster, lovingly named Steve Buscemi. Not in the movie, but by the production, from what I can understand. And
Yes.
the movie takes place in 2006, where we follow Park Gang-doo, played by Song Kang-ho, who is a regular in a lot of Bong Joon Ho's films.
Yep.
He was in Snowpiercer, and he was in Parasite.
And in Memories of a Murder.
Oh yeah, he was also in that. Who plays a slow-witted guy who runs a snack bar near the river with his father and his daughter, and yeah, and they're poor.
They're a struggling family in Seoul, like a lot of families tend to be in the South Korean region. And basically because of that, their family grew astray. And everybody's kind of all right, so I watched the movie with the director's commentary.
Okay.
Which is in English, which is nice. It has Bong Joon Ho on it and some random dude. One of his friends and like a British guy. I don't know. I don't know who he was. I apologize. But it was quite interesting because he was talking about how basically the idea behind his family is that they're all losers.
Right.
Even the other siblings who have left this family have kind of failed in their respective endeavors.
Yeah, the sister is a archer, and the brother is like an alcoholic college graduate.
Yeah. But they all had like a pursuit that they failed.
Right.
You know, the brother was an activist, which harkens back to Bong Joon Ho's early life, where he was an activist in college as well. During the 80s when they were still under a form of a dictatorship.
Right.
And those were what the protests were against. And the sister is an archer that cannot obtain a upper level award in archery.
Yeah.
Like she's like second or third banana always. And the main character is the ultimate failure in a way, because he's sort of a slacker. He falls asleep a lot. He's not particularly motivated to do anything. His attempt to collect money for his daughter's education fund is a bunch of coins in a like a ramen cup. The monster itself appearing in the Han River is a catalyst for the family to band together with the idea to save the daughter
who gets kidnapped by the monster.
You can easily replace the monster with a human being in this. Not necessarily in physical action, but more in plot wise.
Right.
Like I said, Silence of the Lambs, Silence of the Lambs, you have a kidnapping case, and then Jodie Foster has to have an investigation and figure out where she is.
Yeah.
Where the abducted person is, and Buffalo Bill is sort of the monster of the movie.
However,
so
making it into a literal monster, and then tying that into an event of Americans doing environmental destruction, sort of ties into the sort of themes of the movie with regards to like government intervention and specifically the U.S. role in it. And it is also based on an actual event that happened also in the year 2000.
What is this event?
So the event was in the year 2000, in February of 2000. U.S. military facility located in the center of Seoul dumped a lot of formaldehyde into the sewer system, which led to the Han River, and the South Korean government wanted the U.S. Military civilian employee, a guy named McFarland, to be charged for it, but he then fled to the U.S. and the U.S. didn't want to give him back or give him to the South Koreans, and it took until like 2005 for his case to actually be him to be found guilty in court, with him present, although he never served prison for what he did, because of course,
cunt.
Indeed.
And so yeah, so there's like an environmental slant to it, right? The kidnapping of a Park Gang-doo's daughter motivates him to bring the family together. Well, it motivates the family members to sort of attempt and save her.
Right.
Some very bizarrely timely references to a pandemic and a virus that might be started from the creature.
Right.
But that proves to not be real, which probably fed some anti-vaxxers like wet dream. The pandemic angle was more around how superpowers like the US look for pretexts to intervene militarily in certain situations.
Right.
And he specifically referenced the Iraq War.
Yeah, because weapons
the weapons of mass destructions that never existed.
Which never existed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also what I got from this movie, that the whole pandemic angle was a front, basically.
It's played up in the movie as a speculation that basically gets blown up by the media.
Right.
But it's kind of strange with the times in which we live in, including the fact that there's a montage sequence where they're using actual news clips from, I assume, pandemic related events.
Yeah.
And there is a snapshot of the SARS virus.
SARS. We know you too well.
So that's a bit unfortunate in retrospect, but it's within the fiction of the metafiction of the movie, I think it makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we have sort of this ticking time clock where the daughter, who is in this layer where the beast keeps its prey,
right?
She sort of realizes that the beast feeds constantly, right? And the beast sort of ingests humans and then digests them slowly, and like you said, Daniel, vomits their bones.
Yep.
And whatever remains are not digestible.
In a very disturbing scene.
It is extremely disturbing. And sort of the family have to figure out as fast as possible how they can find her. There's a whole cell phone thing, and that's how they find her. Right. I guess this is a good time as any. What did you think of the creature itself?
I think it's a really well realized creature. Of course, this is 2006, so 14, 15 years ago. But right. I still think it looks pretty good to this day. Like the scene where we first see it, and it's like running around on the pier or on the edge of the river, looks pretty damn good, even by today's standard. I mean, okay, it wouldn't fly by today's standard, but it looks really good when you think about it's 15 years old and not made by the US or like Hollywood.
And it is well integrated into its environment.
Yeah.
10 minutes into the movie, they show the creature, which is quite refreshing. There's not a lot of...
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, and it's just full body. There it is.
Yeah.
And
it's broad daylight as well.
Yeah, it's broad daylight. There's a lot of emphasis on it by changing brightness and, it goes from shadow to light and that kind of thing. There's a lot of rotoscoping of actors to have them put in front or behind the creature. Because in the behind the scenes, you see the stages in which they applied that sequence where the creature runs through that initial wave of people who are on the pier. And they didn't shoot it with any green screens.
Really?
No green screens. None whatsoever.
Then they have to hand cut them. Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh god.
Because there's a step-by-step breakdown of the scene
Okay.
So they show you the plate, right? The live action stuff, and it's just people running and falling.
Right.
Shot with the shot with a steady cam. Then they show you the superimposed animation, which is just the animation on top of it. It's not rotoscope or anything. And then you see it rotoscoped, which would integrate it into the environment. And that's just fucking nuts. You know, with no, you know, because, okay, for people who don't know, green screen is used to remove backgrounds from images and videos. You know, it's all, you know, most commonly, I guess, for people who don't know, it's like we use in weather broadcasts, right? So, you know, your weatherman doesn't actually present his screens. He has a green screen behind him. It's easy to key out, meaning that we can replace that one specific color much easier with other stuff.
Right.
It's used in movies because, okay, we need to remove the background of this actor in order to put in something that might be digital there. Where you don't have that, because this was shot outside, 2006, maybe they didn't really know how to do that, and also it's a steady cam. So they just didn't do that at all. So what they had to do is rotoscope it out, which means
cut people out, basically.
Yeah, frame by frame. Imagine the software would have been a lot more rudimentary in 2006. So they might have just had to do it frame by frame.
Oh my god.
Bong Joon Ho had a rough animatic being made of the sequence before doing anything. So it was an animatic. It would be animated.
Right.
And then he would show it to the actors, and then the actors would act it out accordingly.
Okay, so he basically planned out the sequence very much in advance, like very detailed in advance, instead of just saying, oh, the monster runs around here for a little bit. It's like, no, we have actual visualizations for how this monster is going to run around and how it's going to interact with people.
And it's not like there was anything in the place of the monster. Like nowadays you would have like some guy running in a green suit, like,
yeah.
There was nothing.
Oh my god.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me of Lord of the Rings, that they also did that with Gollum, because he, of course, wasn't, when they shot Andy Serkis outside, he wasn't motion captured.
Right.
There's very little of Lord of the Rings where he's actually motion captured.
It was just reference.
Yeah, so he's basically just running around like a skin-colored leotard. So they had to cut him out and replace and put in the digital model, which, imagine having to do that.
Yeah, and especially because they show quite a bit of behind the scenes stuff, and they show you like the stuff that the visual effects guys are working on. It's like these fucking CRT monitors with very basic programs that run in fucking XP. It's in Windows XP, and it's just like, fuck.
I am constantly surprised when I see like behind the scenes footage from this era. Basically going back to Jurassic Park and then up until like this era, the mid 2000s. Where you see people working on visual effects, it looks nothing like the finished product. Like it looks like they're playing with like wireframes. But then you see the finished product and it's like, where did this come out? Because
what was the point where you decided to make this good?
Yeah, like when you work on it today, you can work on like an actual model that looks like kind of how it's gonna look in the finished shot, you know, and then composite it in. But back then, you know, whether it was Jurassic Park's like weird stop motion / motion capture rig that like got the data from like some stop motion guys playing with like a metal rig, to this movie where they're just, you know, playing around with with like a really rudimental model, and then suddenly spits out this. It's insane.
The rigging of the model of the creature, which is quite simple to how you would rig a model today, like in fucking Blender or whatever.
Right.
But you see how many articulation points it has?
Quite a few, I assume.
The fucking, you notice the creature has like little fishes embedded on its side, and those fishes obviously have fins of their own as well.
Right.
And those fins have rotators on them, so you can rotate them manually.
And I'm assuming the creature was hand animated.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
I don't think they use a lot of physics engines. I did get nostalgic in the behind the scenes. Watching 12 people looking at a CRT monitor in a really crammed room.
Yep.
And it looks really hot. And they're all like, I don't know about this. And it looks really rough, the animation. Like it's Bong Joon Ho and like 12 other people. He's like, I don't know. I think this could be faster. And then there's like a guy from Cincinnati in a Hawaiian shirt there, and he's like, oh well, we can definitely make it better. And they're like, holy fuck.
And the other guys are just like, oh my god, we spent months on this shit.
They actually did it because obviously Bong Joon Ho was in South Korea, and then the crews were either in Wera, which is in New Zealand, or Orphanage, which is in San Francisco.
Right.
And they did most of the work on it, on the creature, and they would communicate over some rudimentary form of Skype. I don't think it was Skype, but it or I think Bong Joon Ho would record video of himself with a projector screen of the scenes that the studios would send to him, and him commenting on top of it.
Oh my god!
Going like, this could be this and this and that.
Right.
And then the animators would get it back, watch his videos, and then be like, okay.
Why do I have a feeling that still somehow happens? That somebody, like if you...
I think it happens, but it happens more in real time.
Right.
Like, you just go over like fucking Zoom or whatever.
Just private a YouTube video and send it to people.
Yeah, or drive it, like you
Right.
put it on Drive or something, and then you just open up a Zoom meeting and then go like, okay, let's watch this. Okay, this could be this and that.
That actually reminds me. There's another side tangent, but for the video game, I think it was Dishonored, because the studio that made Dishonored is a twofold studio, one in America, one in France. They had a constantly open, basically Skype call where people could just go over and be like, "Yo, you guys in America, how did you fix this thing?" And it was constantly open, so they could just always contact the other people.
That's nice.
But of course, this is 2006. We can't do that. We don't have the bandwidth.
Have you seen the phones people use in this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking clamshell phones. Visual effects are very impressive. I think they hold up because they did that one thing that you should definitely do even today in visual effects, which is you should pay attention to your shots when you do them on set.
Yeah.
To make sure that you can then have them match with the VFX, which are put in later.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there's a lot of shots of the creature either voring people, eating them, or spitting them out.
Yeah.
How do you think they did that?
I'm assuming they did a sort of rig that have people being either eaten or spitting out, and then it was overlaid with the creature of some kind.
They had like a rubber tube.
Yeah.
And they would drop people from it. And they would overlay the creature on top of that. And for stuff like, for example, when people were like on the creature's tail, they would either use a CG double, it's called, for really far away shots.
Yeah, like a CG person you put on instead of having an actual person.
Exactly. But for example, there's a shot where the creature kills two like workers.
Yeah.
It brings them to its lair and pukes one of them, and then it lowers the other one on its tail, right? And the way they did that is they had the person on two wires and slowly bring it down. And so the VFX people had to remove the wires and then put a CG tail and rotoscope it around its body.
Right.
Jesus Christ. There's a lot of reincorporation with each member of the family.
Yeah, they all have a thing.
Yeah.
That sort of gets...
Obviously, the sister has arching, and that gets reincorporated in the end. The brother has a bottle of Korean vodka, which is transformed into a Molotov cocktail that he throws
at the creature.
Yeah. And there's some reincorporation with the main character, Pang Gang-do, because in his initial scuffle with the creature, he attempts to beat it up with some sort of a rod, and he succeeds in the end. Yeah, he stabs him with it.
He impales it.
Fine. You want to be fancy.
And then it dies.
Yes. But also there's another reincorporation from him, which is he loses his beer can.
Right, yeah.
at the beginning because he throws it in the ocean.
Then it comes back.
In the ocean, in the river.
Right.
And then the creature burps it later in the movie. That was kind of cool. And there's a lot of good stuff with each character. The dad as well, Park Hye-bong, and he's the one who unfortunately has to die.
Yeah.
For the family to sort of pick up the pace, you know.
How do I put it? It's a very simple cast. Like the actors are doing a really good job, but I'm not trying to diminish their.
There was a thirst-like moment, which is not even a Bong Joon Ho movie. It's a Park Chan-wook movie. Yeah. The moment where they're all together. There's basically one scene where they're all together and they're not bickering.
Yeah, they're eating.
Which is what they're eating, and the kind of spirit of the daughter.
Oh yeah.
Comes in the shot from she kind of crawls from under the table into the shot. That was really creepy.
Yeah, that was kind of creepy. But apparently, that was so that they could have a moment together as a family. That was sort of Bong Joon Ho's intent for that shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I felt that. I felt more it was kind of creepy that she's just coming out of the table. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know if I agree that it's a thirst-like moment though. I was a little.
There's a really nice split shot, where when the alcoholic brother is running from the authorities, because spoiler alert, they're all being hunted by the authorities because there
wasn't contact with the monster.
Yeah, the whole virus thing is going on. They want to say they're contagious, they're not though. And the alcoholic brother finds out where the daughter was because she used a cell phone that pinged, so the authorities know where she is. So he finds out so they can save them from the creature, and the police find him, and he jumps off a bridge.
Yeah.
And there's a shot where the policeman on top of the bridge, and then it's him on the bottom. It's in the same shot, like from above. And as the policeman is edging towards the edge of the bridge to look over it, he's like slowly rolling into the shadow of the bridge. I thought that was really neat.
There's some cool shots in here. Like we talked about this with our review of Mother, that Bong Joon Ho has a knack for putting in like really like interesting imagery in things that would normally be very simple in a way. Like I remember we talked about the shot in Mother where she's like hiding in the closet and there's a few people like asleep and walks by them, and it's this like overhead shot and it's very steady and moves like in perfect sync with her, and
right
then they get woken up because I think a bottle falls over and they get like water in their hands or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course Parasite is full of those kinds of shots.
Yeah, specifically the one where the family's under the table.
Yeah.
While the other family's having sex.
Yeah, whilst they're watching over their kid who's in the garden.
Yep.
Oh boy. But also like a lot of really good framing. Like Bong Joon Ho is just a really good filmmaker. That's basically what I'm getting at. Like he knows what he's doing and he's good at it.
Basically the whole thing kind of comes to a head. They lured the creature out of its shelter, and unfortunately they're kind of too late. The daughter's already sort of dead, passed away. Well, she was underwater basically for a good extended period of time while the creature swam, because it was in the creature's mouth. But she saved a young child, so that's good. Through her efforts,
whom they adopt.
Meanwhile, there's like this whole thing where the American military, I guess, is trying to push the testing of what is basically Agent Orange, but it's Agent Yellow in this movie.
Yep.
So Agent Orange, for people who don't know, is mustard gas.
Yep.
Which is a deadly war crime style.
Oh boy, is it!
Weapon that some different powers have used across history. So they use Agent Yellow, which is a substance, some sort of deadly substance, on the creature while it's on shore after the family sort of lured it out. And you see like people like coughing blood and shit because they just dump it on the audience because there are
protesters in the area, and then they release Agent Yellow to sort of stun the creature, I think. But the creature is attacking a crowd, so of course this mustard gas like substance is also hitting a crowd of protesters, resulting in aforementioned blood vomiting and, oh boy.
Yeah, probably cancerous symptoms.
Probably death.
Yeah, basically this whole climax allows the family to fight together and defeat the monster and kill it and adopt a boy.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's basically the end of the movie. There's a nice thing at the end where the main character who lost a daughter, right, to this whole ordeal, wakes up and looks immediately at the ocean because they have like you said, like a food shop
near the river.
Not the ocean. I keep saying the ocean. The river Han, the Han River. And he immediately pulls up his father's gun.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm ready for you.
It's like, I have PTSD. There's probably more of them.
Yeah.
What did you think of the social commentary in the movie about like American interventionism in it, and the whole orange yellow Agent Yellow thing and that kind of stuff?
I don't know why the Agent Yellow thing is there in a way. Reading up on it, I kind of understand the opening with the formaldehyde because it's literally referencing an actual event. But the Agent Yellow thing, I'm a little questioning of why it's there. But I kind of get it as like a way to be like, it sort of builds on the idea of the virus story that the government is sort of pushing to sort of justify their activities. So it's like they use this creature as like test subject, like, hey, we have this creature, why not, test on it.
What did you think of the shot where they looked like they were about to operate on Park Gang-doo's brain?
Oh, about to lobotomize him?
Lobotomize him,
yeah.
There's like a red floor and everything.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking nuts.
It
looked like something out of a Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, or like a giallo film, like very colorful.
Yeah, which is weird because the movie doesn't have a lot of color, really.
No, it's very bright. Like when it's daylight, obviously. It's when we have the first sighting of the creatures, like very broad daylight, but the colors aren't really saturated in a like emphasizing way. It's more, I don't know if I would call it naturalistic, but it's like, yeah. It is kind of weird though that scene in particular is so colorful, but I think it's more to emphasize the danger of it, the red floor, things like that.
Right. What movie do you think inspired Bong Joon Ho in the design of the relationship of the family?
Say 2006?
Yeah. It's from 2002. I'm gonna give you that.
I have no idea.
Fucking Signs by M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay,
no joke.
I would never have guessed that. Okay, that movie had completely left my mind. Really?
Yeah, he says like, yeah, I saw M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, and it has like a family dealing with this bizarre situation. Right. In that case, it's like aliens, and that's where he came up with the idea of the family in this.
I mean, I kind of get it. Yeah, I kind of get it. But still, I would never have guessed that.
Want to hear some other fun facts?
Sure, bring it.
So they actually shot in an actual sewer.
Okay, I was actually going to ask whether or not that was a set.
The layer of the creature was a set.
Okay.
Where the little girl was kept.
The like square the square hole. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a set. But the other shots of the underground stuff, and the creatures sort of swimming under the pillars and that kind of thing, and actors running underground and that kind of thing. Nope, shot in an actual sewer.
Damn.
And the whole crew had to get tetanus shots.
Oh, tetanitis.
Thank you. Tetanitis shots before shooting.
Oh my god. I can
imagine. They had to like haul in equipment that was electric, and the water was up to their like ankles in some places. It was really interesting to watch because it's mostly filmed. Some of the actors like had to pause between takes because sewers smelled like shit, so they had to like.
I wonder if that was due to the budget that they had to shoot in an actual zoo and not had a set. Because the budget of the movie was like $11 million around the time. I don't know if that's a lot for a South Korean movie around the time, but
It became the highest grossing South Korean movie at that point.
yeah, and a little bit ahead. Like I think it didn't get like beaten until like 2009, I think.
There is some weird stuff about the creature. Like, it's kind of both fish and amphibian at the same time.
It kind of looks like a fish that is like halfway towards human, or like towards something resembling a land creature in a way,
Fair enough.
in a like
yeah.
mutated kind of way.
Why does it have a vagina mouth?
I don't know.
Bong Joon Ho does reference H.R. Giger a lot.
Oh, that could be why.
And Alien.
Yeah, but it has like a flower mouth, like it opens up as like a
Vagina.
Vaginas don't open like that, Steve.
Wait, what? Any other thoughts on the host?
Well, I have a couple of small tidbits that are kind of fun.
All right.
Apparently, there was a sequel announced.
Oh my.
For 2007, which after the movie's sort of good release, I would say, like it again, highest grossing South Korean movie at the time. However, the movie would have a different director, never said who, because the movie was never made, of course. But apparently, there was a VFX demo reel debuted at the Tokyo International Film Festival in 2010, and then the movie was projected to be released in 2012. However, still no status on what the hell that sequel is, and its last I could find was 2020.
Was the demo reel ever available to the public?
I didn't look for it, but maybe, I don't know. I maybe somebody snapped it, or maybe it's been released online somewhere. There was also in 2008 a announced remake, an American remake with Gore Verbinski producing, and it was supposed to be directed by first-time director Frederick Bond, who I don't really know has done anything else, and was set
outside of not making the host.
Yeah, and was set to release in 2011. However, the movie never materialized.
You know what? I don't think we need this.
Americans
are so insulting with their purchasing of remakes because they do it like they want to do it as fast as possible.
Oh yeah.
They wait like 10 years for their movies to be remade, but they think like, wow, this is foreign. Nobody's seen this. So we can just do it right away, because nobody cares.
What do you mean? The fact that they're already pushing through a American remake of the Another Round, the Danish movie that won the Best Foreign Picture Oscar?
Yeah, that's weird.
With Leonardo DiCaprio in the main line, and also the mini-series version of Parasite for HBO.
Yeah.
However, Bong Joon Ho is actually working on that project.
Yeah, but it's still unnecessary.
Yeah, like I totally agree, but
we don't need another one of these.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay. We got one. That's more than. That's more than zero.
How do you feel like this movie stacks up against Bong Joon Ho's other films?
I don't know. I think it's very easily digestible.
Yeah, I would also say so.
It's more of a genre movie than his other movies kind of fit into the same crimey thriller. Yeah. This is still kind of a crimey thriller movie, but with a monster.
Right. Yeah, I would probably say this and maybe Snowpiercer are like two of his easiest movies to get into.
I would say Okja is fairly easy to get.
Oh yeah, that one as well. Also, that one is on. Easier. Also, that one is on Netflix. So.
But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I don't think it really has any really deep meaning to it or whatever.
I mean, outside of what Bong Joon Ho sort of is known for making films about,
I guess that's it. We both really liked it. Definitely check it out.
Definitely.
Drop us a like on Twitter.
Drop us a like on Twitter.
What are we gonna do next week? Well, next week, Daniel, my boy, my bottom boy.
Okay, never call me that ever again. We are doing 1998's Deep Rising.
Whoa.
Which is an American one.
Whoa. What's the monster in it, Daniel?
It's a sea monster.
Whoa! What kind of sea monster?
I don't know, like a.
It's like a squid.
Oh yeah, right. It's a squid.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God! All right. Signing off before Daniel gets us another stroke.
I can feel it coming.
Oh, don't ever say that. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.